Hi, my name is Dr Wisdom, CEO ETGSL Education and ETGSL Group. And I've had a very great session with my friend of over 15 years, Dr Obi Okeke, known scholar and CEO of my Alexia. And of course, this entire idea of Hello Nelson and Hi Nelson is great, speaking into the future, telling our story in a first person singular to people that are not yet here. And indeed, Nelson, if you're watching me, I had a great session speaking with you. And of course, it's been a very organically made interaction. And I do hope that all viewers out there will enjoy. Thank you very much.
So here I'm with someone who I really admire, someone I really respect, someone that is so special to me. He's a friend, he's a brother, he's more than a friend, and he's more than a brother at the same time. And in terms of what he's achieved and who he is, this guy is a business guy, done a lot of business, and also an intellectual. So he's got a PhD in biochemistry, and also he is just an amazing guy with an amazing skill. Negotiation, I respect him, and being diplomatic. So, Dr. Wisdom, you're welcome.
Come on, brother. You're welcome, man.
Happy to meet you.
Thank you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I mean, we went far back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Years back.
That will be some 14 years ago now, each.
Yeah.
More than
that.
More than I would say. So,
Yeah, so
I'm so proud of what you're doing.
yeah, thank you.
My lecture, great stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Good ideas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stuff. Yeah.
So I mean, for the audience benefit, I know everything about you.
Yeah.
But for the audience benefits, and just to let you know, and I know you know, so I started this podcast just because I'm talking to Nelson.
Okay.
Nelson is my great grandson. So the idea is that, when we talk to Nelson, we're kind of showing Nelson, who's our great grandson,
The history.
the history,
Genealogy.
who are we?
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the idea behind this.
Good
So, which is, I'm also trying to show Nelson, like, the people I'm related to, my friends,
Yeah, great.
people around me,
Yeah.
and everything that's around me.
So we're hoping for this to leave longer than when we've gone.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
so-
I want the history. I want people in thousands of years to be able to look back and see what
That's
people
great.
live now.
That's great.
Do.
Good stuff.
Yeah, appreciate
Good
it.
idea.
Yeah. So let's begin. So tell me about your childhood. How did you grow up?
Lovely childhood, I'd say. Come from a big family. Not like the generation now. We 7.
Wow.
Mom and dad. My dad was he's an engineer.
Yeah.
My mom was an office worker, admin, mostly, and much later into education.
Wow.
Quite a lot of masters and
Yeah.
interchanging degrees. My mom was quite a studious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you say that's where your?
I think so. That's where it's coming. I mean, from both ends, you see, because
They're both intellectuals.
absolutely, and this is striking because, as history would have it, as I was handed over the story, my dad he left school, quite early after his Cambridge examinations and stuff like the what we have now as the O level.
Oh, okay.
He had left school. And he left school to go into engineering as a craft, to learn engineering, and he picked up quite very early, and you will find that he went on to have his own company, got married to my mom. And it was when I was in my secondary school that my dad went back to university to get a degree.
Wow. I can see the drive.
I swear.
So
my dad, in a very proud way, I must say, upon reflection.
Yeah.
Went back to the uni to do what we call CEP program. So it's uni. It's like a part-time uni education that runs only in the weekend.
Wow. Okay.
For mature students.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it would take longer time.
So you took the
about 7 years.
Wait, was it after he become a business guy, married your mom, successful?
My dad, I mean, that was my... So you know when we're learning field?
Yeah.
Our secondary school.
Yeah.
That was about when I met you. So
yeah.
God knows.
Years back.
17s. I don't know. But
how old
was this?
20. Oh, it should be 2020.
2022.
2002?
Yeah, 2002.
2002.
Yeah. That's when my dad was doing his weekend university education.
When we met, yeah. That's when your dad was. Yeah. Wow.
So, you know, and this is so true, because I remember I was very good in physics, because I studied with my dad's Teraja. Yeah, you know.
Impressive.
Teraja for my dad was on the dining table.
What is Teraja?
Teraja is it's a university electrical electronics engineering textbook.
Oh.
Yeah. Teraja is like this.
That big.
Wow. So, yeah. He was using it in the uni for his studies.
And you were
studying. But it was useful for me for physics. Because of course, force is equal to mass times acceleration due to gravity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basic law. Teraja makes it simple. Quite a lot of illustrations, circuit energy, direct contact, DC, AC, you know, circuit drawings, all of that. Newton's first law, second law, third law, all well illustrating Teraja. So I used my Pops's University resource when I was in my secondary school. So I had my physics A1 in my WAEC.
Wow. Why didn't you go ahead to study?
That's a completely different conversation. I'd rather not go into that, because it was ideal. It was vigorously pursued by my dad. I did engineering. And of course, it did make sense, because as a kid, every time I saw a fan knob, a fan socket, I lose it all open, couple it all back intact. Toys, I brought them all open. I tried to build a car with woods, man. You know, I swear.
Really?
Oh God! Don't make me go very bad. And way back, I would say, yeah, but you know, come to think about it, I had a great upbringing. Very Christian home. I mean, yeah, not religious, but Christian home.
Yeah,
proper Christian home.
Christian
values, you know. Well, absolutely. And lovely parent. We had care. We had the best of education. We had presence of our parents in our lives generally, you know. And the love and support was there. I couldn't ask for better, you know. And the bond is still there. Really, so you know,
we talked about it just behind.
Yeah. So you find that all of this are quite tremendously instrumental to what has become who we are now. And so, just responding to your question, so I don't just go on and on and on. My childhood was is a great childhood. I mean, I loved it. I loved it. Got the best gifts.
Yeah. How were you with friends as a child? Because I'm just curious to know.
I had some friends, you know. I had some friends, and
have you always? One thing I'm curious about is, have you always been? Because you've got this leadership personality, the kind of negotiation skill. Were you always like that as a kid?
I'd say I had some friends, you know, and leadership. I mean, you know, I had good friends, you know, and quite a few of them, and I was always this reserved, so to say, reserved kid, and I wasn't very much out there. I had my moments. So very striking story actually. I remember this time that, and I kind of always found that I've always missed a person who's spoken to the future for
Like Nelson.
for the manifestation of things that were to come.
Oh, okay. You've always been that person. Yeah. True.
So I should be around my, I say 10, and it was a long vacation, and everyone was talking about their bicycle. And in those days, it was the chopper.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, it was a chopper.
Yeah.
It was a chopper.
BMX.
Yeah, BMX chopper, bicycle. Everybody, and I don't want to mention names, they're all going to crack up now. They don't know the story. Everybody was talking about a chopper, what they have, the make, and I was quiet. Because I didn't have any. But I was quiet. And one told to me, you don't have a chopper. You've been quiet. You don't even have a chopper. And everyone laughs and everything. And I said, me? Chopper? Chopper is a kid. I've got a bicycle with 6 gears, like all-way premium, better than a chopper. And everyone was like, really? Oh my God. And I'm like, I pitched them on the future of something I had, but I didn't really have. And they says, after the holiday lessons, before the temple starts, they're going to come to my house, have the views of the sea. And I went home and I prayed. I said, what's going to happen? These guys are going to find out I don't have a chopper. I don't even have a bicycle at the moment. And you know what happened? My dad's cousin that was in South Korea wrote me a letter. As a kid, I said, what do you want? I said, a bicycle. I replied. And almost before the long vacation finished, they come to my house and say, Uncle Felix has sent you something, come to his house and pick it. The container just arrived. The first item, as she opened the container, was a bicycle with 6 gears.
Wow.
A bicycle, a child could ride it, and adults could ride it because it's extendable, chairs, blended, completely stolen.
Wow.
Very stolen bicycle.
Wow.
And it was just that thing. And you know what? They came and they saw it. It matched my pitch.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. I think that's a wonderful skill in terms of, because as most visionaries, they are able to convince other people of a dream.
Yeah.
And then 2, they deliver it, but they always have a vision.
Yeah.
Do you think, from the story you just mentioned, and I know you're a business guy, you own the business, how do you think that skill aligned with you and business?
Yeah, just like I say, I'm a person who speaks into the future in terms of creating things.
Yeah.
I do a lot of mental creation of my personality, of my ideas. I speak into it until consistently and work. And sometimes I don't really know how it's going to all come together.
Or you just believe?
But I believe. So the business that I do today was something that after I had gone through the help and the guidance of coming over to the UK for my master's, I thought to myself, this is something I could do, And, I kept reinstating that idea within myself.
I know you told me about it.
I made an email to my university then to say, I could help in any way I can. I'd love to. Now, I didn't think of it as a business. I just thought of it as a vocation, so to say. Not even as a business, but I knew that there were quite a lot of people that had the resource but lacked the guidance. I could benefit from the process I had benefited from. Right? You get what?
Yeah.
And that was the vision. And over time, one block at a time, one step at a time, we continue to effectively, work on that vision until it became something of a tangible, something tangible you can lay hands upon. I started my company in 2018, registered 2017, started full operation 2018. And from 2015, I had been involved in student recruitment and student mobilization, so to say. So, coming to your question again, it's a big essence, it's a big part of me to foresee things, to conceptualize an end product. You know what I mean? And I think it's it could be crazy because people think you're crazy. People think you're like you're speaking abstract. More than half of the time, the resource to get those kind of visions accomplished are never there from the start.
Yes.
And it might not look like there is a way. You could put those things together. But the audacity of imagination for me is key.
Yeah. I like the fact you mentioned imagination. One of my favorite books is The Law of Success.
Yeah.
And one of I think the 7th chapter, can't remember now, talks about imagination. And if you look at entrepreneurs in the past, in the early 19th century, like for example, Carnegie, and most of those guys at that time, Henry Ford. It was all about imagination.
You must see the end product from the raw material.
From the beginning. Okay. Awesome. So do you think that is a major skill you think every entrepreneur should have?
Oh, great. I must say, how you must born crazy in you. You must born crazy in you so much so that people look at you and like they don't understand. The carry of a vision necessarily, business vision, mandate vision, leadership vision, whatever it is, any vision whatsoever. The carry of vision must come to a point where people look at you and like say you're crazy. Because they can't lay hands upon the elements of your inspiration. They burn heavy. And what actually keeps you going is that you're able to just tell where you're going to, but not necessarily understand how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
So it's a very key quality for entrepreneurs, business leaders, leadership in general.
Wow. I know now we talk about, people see the success, you're very successful and clearly.
Am I? I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, every entrepreneur, you're never satisfied.
I wouldn't say I'm very successful. We just put in one stone on top of the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy for people to just look at what's happening today, how they see you today.
Yeah.
The nice car you drive, the nice house you live in. You live in a wonderful house, by the way. You've got an amazing house.
Thank you.
And just the flashy stuff.
Yeah.
But I know there used to be a zero,
of course,
and then you got to where you are today. And I know it's not the ending because I know the expansion plans and so many things going on at the moment, and even our business together.
Yeah, sure.
So, would you want to walk us through the zero and most of the toughest moments within from zero to
toughest
just for people to understand?
Toughest moment, I don't know if it's the time, but toughest moment is pain. So average family, you wouldn't say we're poor, but we're just very much there. But I always wanted better. I've just told you how my dad, went to school in his adult age. So he is a man who did the best he could in his season, and even still does now, based on the extent of responsibility that he had.
Yeah.
So, growing up, watching him, seeing the energy and the success he achieved, I realized he had done the due diligence for his generation. He's done it all. If we needed to make a move, it would be me, it would be my generation, it would be my time. And the old methods will not work.
Yeah.
The conventional
methods.
The conventional applications and stuffs would not work. It would not do the push. So when I thought to study abroad, it was almost an anathema. Not a thing to say, not a thing to do. It was. But you see, I'm not sure how it all aggregated, because I just knew I wasn't meant to be in Nigeria to metamorphosize. It was not my place, because I looked at them. I did my NYSC in the House of Assembly. I came close to a lot of leaders, politicians. I looked at their children. I looked at how power would be transferred from a father to a son in the leadership space, not because the son is competent, but because it is convenient.
I like that.
You get the point. Now, I thought to myself, how can we play? How can we play in this atmosphere? We don't even have a chance. Our parents are not the big names. We're not the big families. We don't have the big money. So if we have a mandate, leadership mandate, business mandate that needs capital, so to say, how do we get those things happen? In the conventional Nigeria atmosphere. And I looked at all of it, a little bit. And, it was clear to me that this is not the place. One, I had to expand on my academic assets. Okay? And
knowledge.
My knowledge base, I had to pursue something that was unique in its footing, and the world was willing to buy. So it led me to do my master's in a very rare area in drug discovery and development, as my bachelor's was in medical biochemistry.
Yeah.
Right. And but in all of that, I said, and this is very funny, as it comes across, I said to myself, I need to do this master's in a place I could have access to the children of the wealthy. And forgive me, because that's a completely old notion.
Yeah.
And it does not by any way reflect the truth.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe not completely, because there are exceptions. I did say to myself, most of the children of the rich, the many, many rich people, are not intelligent. They go to the UK, the club, they do that, they don't study. And I said, maybe I'll be friends of one of them. I'll study, I'll do the reading, I'll do the, and I help them, I support them. And, maybe we make introductions to their father, we get big jobs on the CBN, in NAFDAC. That was the play, that was the template. That was the vision for me in my elementary base of thoughts. That was for me the way to cross over. And I thought to myself, if I've got a UK masters, I'm going to get a job, which is an honest aspiration.
Yeah.
So, because if I had done it in a Nigerian university, I would not meet those kids. I would not, I would just be one of those graduates out there doing the regular thing. So, sadly as it is, that was, I'm telling you the honest truth around the rationale.
I think in that time, it's the usual rationale. You need to hang around with the...
You need to break even.
Yeah.
It's just a breaking even situation.
Yeah.
In geometric limp, and it did not materialize that way eventually. But what you find is that I did great in my studies coming to the UK. All I had learned in different leadership positions, including being the head of the co-members in the House of Assembly, winning the state awards as one of the best-selling co-members in the state where I served, played out so smoothly that I went into student leadership in my university, Sunderland University, and I was a class rep, course rep, faculty rep, student union exec, mature postgraduate student. I was a two-time NUS delegate for my university to National Union of Students in the UK. And, in all of those moments, what you will find is a consistent transformation of idea and consolidation of my personal philosophy and quest to continue to say to myself, you must really keep progressing.
Yeah. So do you think, from what you just explained, I think you've constantly been improving or personal developing?
Yeah, I would say that.
Yourself. How important do you think that is?
Personal development.
Yeah.
Personal development. It's like oil.
Because
personal development is like oil. It's like changing oil in a car.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? So you can't run on oil on a car through the lifetime of a car. You just have to keep changing, refining, servicing, just really adding layers and allowing your experience through well-defined knowledge base to continue to grow by way of study, by way of observing mentors or mentorship program, by way of learning. I am quite tremendously grateful to the institution and the people that allow themselves to mentor me, both consciously and unconsciously.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Quite a lot of them. And when you talked about the 0 to the mileage where we are now, something key is the recruitment, the education consultancy business that I run now. It wasn't a thing I planned, so to say.
Before you get into that, you've actually touched on a few things which I actually admire.
Great.
Which is the learning, mentorship, and all of that.
Okay.
So understanding that you come from you come from an academic background, which is you did your master's, you did your PhD, you learned through the university.
Yeah.
For the benefit of the audience and for people, because there've been this, some people think at this moment that education, as we know it, is it's overrated in a way. What would be your thoughts? Or
I'm not from that school of thought. Not at all. I'm a beneficiary of education and the structure of education. Now, nothing is exhaustive in terms of the benefit. Nothing can be. There's no ideal structure, right? So we must make availability. We must make availability for add-ons. In the defined institutions like education that we have today.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of innovations are around education.
Yeah.
Vocations are inculcated into education. That's why a child can be in a university that has a volleyball team and do so well in volleyball. As a matter of fact, in the US, you'll find that they get scholarships for their skill in volleyball. And one of the requirements to continue to be in the volleyball is to achieve great academic score. And the university exposes them to clubs, and clubs sign them up. Now you have raised an educated man who's got skill in sport that has been transformed to a national regional asset, as the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where education meets vocation.
Yes.
And you can apply that in a ballet team, drama team, a lot of, so in the SU, in the student union, you have a lot of societies and sports and clubs that are not educational in terms of the formality of education.
Yes.
They allow the students to find out an inner self in a non-compartmented classroom environment.
Yes.
Yet they are developing a part of them, which marries with the formal education that they are getting. So education is key. Never ever will I play down on the value of education. As I'm speaking with you today as a product of education.
Yeah.
I mean, I would not be here but for education. So I would not be in that school of thought. I would rather be in the school of thoughts that uphold the principle of education, but continue to modify, continue to lead in innovation within the educational sector, so that the increasing need of breeding the right individuals with the greatest skills through the combination of vocation, skill, and education can be maximized into it.
Awesome. Let me just play a bit of a devil's advocate.
Great.
Now, there are some people out there who would say something like this. The formal education, if let's say I'm interested in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And I go to school and I'm studying chemistry, I'm studying physics and all this stuff. That person might argue, what is the need for studying all these things that I don't need? And I've heard so many school of thoughts who would say, okay, this university don't teach you how to make money, how to be an entrepreneur and all of that. And then in some part of the world, the school fees, that is what you have to pay to be able to tuition fee and all of that, is where people take debt to be able to get into that. What would be your kind of comeback to those?
So there's no perfect answer for this question. We just have to attempt to say the bits that we can. And I'll start from the first question. Every little knowledge has an effect. The proportionality of knowledge you have is evident with the things you know and the decisions you're able to make.
Yeah.
Maybe not for yourself, maybe for someone else, maybe for a niece, maybe for a nephew, maybe for your son, maybe for your daughter. Many years after my secondary school, I know the first law of motion. A body at rest continues to be at rest until it's acted upon by an external force.
Yeah.
Until I die, perhaps. I know it.
Yeah.
Is it applicable in my business? Perhaps yes. Perhaps no. But can I teach it to a kid today? Yes, I can.
And pass the knowledge.
Would that kid be an entrepreneur like myself? No, maybe. Would it motivate a kid towards physics? Perhaps yes, it can.
Can it be applied in other areas of life?
Yes, it can.
Yeah.
Or maybe it could not, depending on the sector. So we learn not just for ourselves. We learn for others as well.
For our ancestors. For
do you know what I mean? So you are well celebrated scholar. You've done quite great for yourself.
Thank you.
I know that you went viral some years back.
Yes.
As the best graduating doctoral student in your university.
Yeah.
Great stuff. But you haven't just read sciences.
Yes.
You are, when we talk politics, we talk business, arts, we talk business, we talk finance. I mean, you would have become a monotonic scholar, so to say, if you had just read microbiology. You get it? So we are human beings with the ability to do quite a few more things.
Yes.
And it would be a disservice to ourselves, to limit ourselves. So I see that just like on a PhD, and I think we had this conversation just a few days ago.
Yeah.
It's a broad to narrow range of study. You start with the general concept, the associated biological functions, pathophysiologies, a lot of literature review. You do quite a lot of grasping of elementary principles and concepts of whatever it is, and you begin to narrow it down. Why do you think it's designed that way? Why did they not start you off with your core? No, you kind of want to come from a brother perspective to an arrow. Now that way you become a full or knowledgeable person.
Well, I mean, I like no one have explained it better than you. The reason why is because even sometimes I fall between those kind of school of thoughts. I also understand the value of education, but you've kind of articulated it actually very well. That I now think back.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm thinking, oh wow, that's true. Because I remember when I was doing my master's, my PhD. I would go into the library and I would start reading things that just interest me, like arts or history, or So, for example, the other day we were talking about William Nordy, who I took I read about how he conquered, the UK as we know today. So it's, I think when you develop a skill as within the university and formal setting, then you expand it and then you kind of learn all the stuff using those skills, those core skills, as well as you are very knowledgeable, at least to a degree, on any topic that someone brings up. So for example, COVID, there are some people who never studied virology or go very in-depth into it. But as soon as you hear about it, you remember the concept of, virus, microbes, all of that. And then you're not just bouncing around ideas from external people on different stuff. You know how this works. That's just the basics. So, well done. You've actually converted me so much to now see you have to go to uni.
Definitely.
All right. So let's get back to the initial point, which was you going from 0 to 100. Now I know the core of it, which is education, learning, mentorship. Talk to me more about mentorship.
Mentorship. I mean, so mentorship is a very great institution. More than half of the time, I think, and this is my opinion, and of course I think that you cannot grow. People are as good as their mentors. They can grow better than the mentors, but they're as good as the mentors. People who you mirror, or who motivate you, who frame you. There are a lot of people. I'm blessed to have identified people that I followed and observed how they did their stuff. I queried, I asked, I observed. Not in a very formal way, because when we talk about mentorship, people think you must be in a room, be in the seat, and someone talks you through. No, but mentorship can be very informal as well.
It could be books, it could be watching.
You could be watching, you could be listening to people. It could be, but it takes a lot of humility to assess what a mentor has, because you have to be ready to submit. What you find is in our time, there was a gap in that inspiration from leaders.
Yes.
And a lot of guys here they have lost hope with what's happening in the country, and it could be useful if our leaders make time to come around and identify with their concerns, not by way of ameliorating all of them, but telling them the direction the country was going to. Being here is quite a big deal. People are bombarded with different cultural idea, and sometimes they just really lose their footprint back home. If we have leaders who stop by events or in locations of these events and motivated young people, even people that will still go back home at the end of the studies, it will give them a sense of identification.
Yes.
Just like he gave our fathers that came before us that handed the stories back to us. So in case of like I said, I served in the assembly. I knew quite a lot of great leaders there, and I just had the way of finding myself around leaders, business leaders, and politicians. Of course, I tried my best to align with the people that their principle and their personality and ethics align with mine. Not just
as a common.
Yeah, not just a common.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't go to everybody. I know I don't. So we've worked on that for a while. Had a few great guys come around, and because we were kind of in the leadership of the Nigerian society in my university, it was easy to convert people, to get in people, during Nigerian Black History Month or Nigerian Independence Month, October, we'll get a leader who would come around and just interact with the Nigerian people.
Wow.
But before all of the whole business started, I had invited a very great leader. I call him my father. He when I knew him, he was the majority leader in the State House of Assembly, the Right Honorable Philip Schreiber. And in the moment that the invitation was happening, he was in the House of Rep, Federal House of Rep. So he was invited, and in that whole time, the international office would support me and the society.
Oh, wow.
In getting an itinerary.
Wow.
So things like just showing him around the campus, strategic places, interacting with some lecturers and head of faculties, and mail presentation of Jersey, and ultimately, I remember this day in that time, in my university, instrumental payment plan was a problem. So we would present our prayers to the leaders that will come so that they can present it to the university authority.
Wow.
So rather than, because the SU will be doing the work underneath, writing letters, getting students to sign signatures and making appeal to the international admission and international office, but with one of our leaders being here and now talking to them, they present it much more better.
That's all in there.
So it would be that time that he came in. I would give them those major action requests that we have as a student committee that they will speak to the university. So his input then helped to fast track the creation of instrumental payment plan for international students.
So I would say that your business was born with you actually trying to advocating for people.
It's safe to say, myself, and it's safe to say, because when those were the things I did. Of course, nobody pays you for those kind of things. They are passion driven, and after his trip, he had gone back and they won an election, and he became a deputy governor. And he calls me to say, "Can you facilitate a collaboration between your university and the university we have in Edo State?" And I said, yes, I could do it. So it was during this
Process.
collaboration facilitation for which I was the principal person, the primary contact for both universities. That one of the great guys, in Ceylon University, the director of international at that time, just said to me, I mean, I don't see why you shouldn't have a license and offer the license to me, And, I had it in my bag for months. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't understand what it was, I didn't understand what it was. Yeah, because I didn't understand how I could do that. It was all ambiguous to me.
Yes.
As time went on, at that point, I was working as a sub-agent with some other companies that were recruiting for the university. So I was working with that.
Wow.
But everything short, that's how I got in. Yeah, that's how I got in. And talking about mentorship again, I must just say that the great things, the cool things I know of this job today, of my business, all of it, I got it from Sunderland University.
Wow.
The guys in the international team, they mentored me really.
Wow.
And immigration skill, everything really, and they must take the credit. Yeah. As well as the fact that the greatest story of what do you call it? Did you call it the lessons or the mistakes or the
Yes.
almost still very much within my university, sadly.
Wow.
Because after my first 2 cycles of recruitment as a company, there was this incident. I believe it was in 2018 or 19, I believe so, of fake bank statement where
that almost crumbled your business.
Yeah, it was.
At that moment, what was going through your mind? Did you want to quit your business?
No, I was not going to quit. Well, I'm a reputation conscious person. So what was important to me was to demonstrate that I knew nothing about that. Because I knew nothing about that. It would be those gray areas in business that you don't know.
Yes.
So it was a bit mumbled up with other external interests and other external,
I want to take over your business.
I don't know. I mean, that's not the video for all of that, but just a couple of other external factors playing around that. But right there, for me, I was conscious of the fact that demonstrating my honesty of purpose and honesty of practice was for me the only thing I could do. I believe that the future would solve every other thing.
Yes.
I had tremendous in that moment trial of my faith, of my convictions.
Wow.
Sometimes this burdens, they come with this responsibility come with burden, and sometimes we feel like cracking under them,
Yes.
But there's a blessing in it, and I continue to remind myself of this: the blessing to liberate people through your knowledge, and transform lives. It is for me very essential and a fulfilling part of what I do. The joy people have at the end of their journey, the relief. I had a friend, and I'm not going to mention him because, of course, client confidentiality. And of course, if his friend watches the French one, he will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Great guy, doing great stuff. You had a great job back home, and it took him time to make up his mind to come over here with his family. And a couple of months later, I say to him, "Tell me the truth, honestly. You do well back home, so you're not poor, and you're here. And tell me, what's the metrics What's the assessment? Do you think you're happy here? I said, man, I can't compare. You can't compare. I can't regret it. I'm doing so much more well. I've got my financial base is strong, confidence, healthcare, everything, That's the page, you know what I mean? And those things are the testimonies we hear that keep us up awake, make us walk around the clock, make us want to do more and give back more,
Yes.
So it's a delight, it's a responsibility. Sometimes you want to just excuse yourself from it. I must tell you this, but we don't quit. We will continue to build a structure, refine the system, and make it functional, more efficient for our service users, for ourselves, and more product oriented in terms of delivering the objectives of our partner universities.
And creating entertainment. That's what it is.
That's the new icing now on the cake. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I know that everyone is talking about the show that's coming up, AY.
Yes.
And the comedy.
Yeah.
And of course, I've watched AY as a young person, and I know how funny it is, and I like going to his shows.
Yeah. He's talented.
He is talented. So everyone is talking about this show, and it's just everyone in Sunderland should go to that show. Sunderland, Newcastle, nearby. If you can come from London, it's wonderful. I think I should be selling out now.
Yeah, if on weekend we should be selling from now.
Yeah. So it's gonna get, because you're already talking about it. It's gonna be sold out. So
I mean, it's a good brand we've gone for. I would say go forward. I say we're privileged to be partnered with a good brand.
Yes.
The brand sells out every venue, everywhere, and I don't see us being an exception. It's a major brand. It's got integrity. It delivers to the people.
Yes.
It connects with the people. It stands with the people. He's just come back from America. He's done multiple locations back to back, multiple states. He's gone to Canada. He's swept it all up, and he's coming to the UK in November, and it's going to be in London November 26th. It's going to be in Newcastle November 27th. And I believe he's got other locations in the cooking. So we are calling on all our friends out there, fun lovers.
Yes.
Come dine with us.
Come laugh.
Yes, we are bringing in the big brands, the major big brands, and these are quite exclusive at the moment. It will come out soon. Big names are coming to the region. And we just like for people to have fun.
Maybe we might get to sit down with AY like.
Oh, surely, definitely,
and have a chat.
Surely, I mean, if not, why not? If he's got the time, I can't speak for him. But we just want to make it a great night, a night of great laughter. I mean, come to think about it, but since the COVID, it's been dry out here. People have not had the opportunity to unwind. And people are stress packed.
Yes.
People are stress packed, and we want to give people a moment to distress, have a good laugh, crack themselves up, and just kind of a reset button.
Yes.
This comedy show is a reset button.
I'm going to put the link to the show and AY just on the description for people to get in and click. And I'm sure you've got discounts for people who are viewing, so we should have something for them as well, and especially within the VIP area, so you will have a chance to meet with somebody's team and all of that. So I'm going to put the link and everything. And also, what is your Instagram? As well, find you.
ETGSL _education.
Awesome. That's your business.
That's my business. Yes.
Okay. And then do you have a personal Instagram as well?
Yeah, it's Wisdom. John _official.
Awesome.
Something like that. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It might be wisdom underscore.
You focus on the business.
Yeah. I tell you, my personal Instagram is poor followers.
Yes.
It's not something I've paid attention to.
Yeah.
But
we'll put it down here.
Yeah.
People can follow you because now people are getting to know you and know the face behind your business. So we're going to put it
quite delighted. Lovely to meet you guys. Lovely to meet everybody. Yes.
Awesome. So finally, what would you say to an upcoming wisdom like you?
Yeah.
And also, what would be your advice for the next generation, 1,000 years to come? What would you like to say? What are your principles?
Right. So I'll speak to you directly on this, and just a bit off the point, but it's something I think. If you're young, learn all you can. Yeah? Learn all you can and be focused. Read books. Allow your head to be motivated by the imaginations and the success story of people who have gone ahead of you. Now, I have a big problem with this generation. The early sexualization. I know that there might be different opinions to this, but this is my simple 2 cents opinion. I find that what sex does to you as a teenager is that it occupies a lot of your mental space and mental imagination space. So when you get into sex very early, you choke your space. Right? Now, you don't have to believe me, but I say to you, you have all your life for fun and for all the sex. So why not live those early lives for more knowledge and allow your head, your brain to become elastic with ideas of greatness. So that when you make the money, you have the fun.
Yeah. I like that. And so what would you say to the future? What would you like them to know about you? What would be the key principle that you want, if they want to write a 1 sentence about wisdom?
If you want to write about me, say wisdom is the man that God helped.
I like that.
The man God helped.
So God holds.
Yes.
And man wisdom.
Yeah, the man God helped.
Okay.
That's how I like to define.
So you're a believer?
I am indeed.
Your faith is the most important.
Absolutely greatest asset. Even on my dying day.
Yes.
That's all I've got.
Awesome. Okay. So without further ado, it's fun having a chat with Wisdom.
Oh, thank you.
And you can see there's a lot of wisdom coming out.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that.
There's a lot to learn from him. And he is someone, we should keep an eye on. I know he's a rising star, and I know he is going to be a star. So, that's why I'm trying to, one of my thing is to talk to people who I know that are getting there, that I've watched from childhood and seen their footsteps. Wisdom is one of them.
Thank you.
And he's my partner as well in business, my Alexia.
Yes,
so
thank you.
He's someone I respect so much. So
thank you very much.
Thank you, Wisdom.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
All right.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.